Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Whole End Talks. My name's Scott Acton and I'm joined once again by Aaron and Jamie.
All right, Scott. All right, Joe.
All good?
All good, man. All good. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks. A little bit more chilled out and now that I've had 24 hours to stew over last night. Awful, embarrassing, whatever you want to call it. There's probably not enough words to actually sum it up. But 4-1 defeat against Palace. As the initial thoughts?
Oh, terrible. Wrong team selection, wrong formation, wrong subs. 2-1 down, take a striker off. 3-1 down, take a striker off, actually. Have no striker on the pitch. Bamboozled is the word.
Joe?
Yeah, first time I actually questioned Emery, and that's not questioning whether he's the right man to obviously take us forward, because I mean he is. But the first time I've questioned his team selection, his man management, his stubbornness, like just everything. And yeah, just a really poor show, and like as he said, just confused and just frustrated, really.
Yeah, I mean, right, before we obviously have a bit of a rant, no one's saying that Emery should be out because obviously that's ridiculous. But you can question decisions that he's made last night, and there's nothing wrong with that. So,
Agreed.
starting lineup comes out. We're obviously on the group chat. We think probably that it's going to be a back four with Bogard sitting next to Yori and then McGinn on the right, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, when the team news come out, yeah.
I think as well with Bogard, obviously, like Emery's been banging on every time Bogard's name gets brought up in interviews and press conferences and stuff. He always goes on about how he's the perfect utility man. He's never been put in his position. He's doing the hard graft. So I thought him off the start, he's going to be put in his natural position, which is being a holder. And then I didn't expect to fall off the back.
No, I mean, I didn't. I think a lot of people thought Rashford would start. Obviously, he didn't. Asensio was on the back. I kind of make Asensio when the first time he played 90. But a little bit shocked then when the game starts and we line up three at the back. I think you put it in the chat straight away, three at the back.
Oh, well, I realised we're playing 3 at the back.
I kind of get the respect side of it in terms of Palace. But then they did say on the commentary that we've played it, I think, 2 other times under Emery. We lost 4-0 to Tottenham with a back three. And the semi-final of the Conference League last season, we played a back three. I mean, I just couldn't work out.
Yeah, I listened to Glasner's post-match interview from last night, and he said he was like, if I'm honest, we were all surprised by how Villa set up. We didn't expect them to basically change their lineup for how we set up, but that played into our hands. And he wanted to say some other stuff, but it just kind of sums up where like even the opposition manager was confused, but confused in a negative way. Not like because sometimes you can catch teams off guard and use it to our advantage, but he was confused and it worked in his favour. That's what he was getting at. And yeah, just so surprised with the.
What I didn't understand is Palace's home form has been poor this season. So why, if they're absolutely flying at home, I can understand it a little bit. They've been so poor at home. Why are we changing for their poor form?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. That's the problem. I don't necessarily think it's like you've gone three at the back, so it's more defensive. That isn't the case because you can actually be more offensive playing three, but it's more so the fact that we've changed from what got us good results recently. We had the Ipswich game, it is what it is. The Chelsea and Liverpool game, we played really well. We've played this set formation. The new players coming in have looking like they're getting used to it and stuff. And then you go to change that with the amount of attacking talent we have on the bench also. Yeah, it's just confused me, and it still does, if I'm honest.
The one thing, I mean, Jay, you're a defender, right? A
Tried
back
to be.
is a specialist formation. There's not many teams that play a back three and actually play it well. Whether you're playing it with wing backs or whether you're more of a five at the back or a 3-4-3, to go from playing 4-4-2 all the time to then going to a back three, and Concert, Tasasi and Bogart will never have played together. I can't imagine they've had time to work on it. Just think it's such a hard formation. If you get it right, listen, it's a great formation, a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2. But it's such a specialist formation. You can't just like think, oh, we're going to play three at the back today and it's going to work, because it's not that easy. You think, oh, three at the back, yeah, they've got one centre forward, but every time they come forward, they look like they were going to score for the majority of the game.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
must have worked on it in training though. It's not
No,
something that's been
yeah,
strong
when
on them. I
when
thought
in 2 weeks would they have really?
that's my point. They must have had what, one training session.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So they couldn't. That's what. Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to say the same thing. We're not. There's no way they would have had time to have worked on it properly.
Yeah, again, it's just, it says a 4-4-2. It's such a rigid formation. You literally have you got a 4-4, and then a two. You're sat in there, whether that's a high press, low press, whatever it is. You're sat in there. You're literally in blocks. Whereas you go to what we done last night. At times out of possession, you're having Garcia like right up high. You're leaving all that space in behind, and like I says, you like it's such a specialist formation. If you work on it and you actually get to grips with it, then you learn to cover the gaps and stuff. But just last night was just like I says, you literally had about one, maybe two training sessions on it max. And then I think the players we got, we talk a lot about Rashford, but Rashford can't necessarily play in a 10 role. And the way we were playing yesterday, we were playing with two tens behind Ollie, so that was never going to work. Um, So yeah, I don't know why we went to a three. It can't be solely the case of trying to deal with Mateta, because that didn't work, and it was clear to see it wasn't going to work because he was touching down and holding up everything he could. Um, and yeah, like you said, it's a specialist formation, so I don't know why we've tried it, if I'm honest.
No.
I thought we would have. I thought Marlon would have started with Rashford one side, Marlon the other side. And I actually expected Asensio not to start. I thought it would be Rashford, Rodgers, Marlon. And
Yeah.
when you look at that for an away game, it's a perfect front three behind the striker. And Rodgers who can take players on, you've got pace on the wings.
Yeah,
It's just
I
didn't
can't
understand it.
out the Marlon thing at the moment, because every time he's come on, he's looked quite sharp. But he started one game, and that's the FA Cup game.
yeah. I saw a post earlier saying that I think he shagged Emery's wife. that's why.
It,
That's why he hasn't been started.
yeah, it's an odd one because what we're less a bit of adaptation, and he's still adjusting, but to not bring him on yesterday did seem odd. I mean, we'll go through the goals. Obviously, Palace go 1-0 up. Um, Ball into the box by Wharton on the recycle. Chris Richards wins the header. I mean, Emmy's either got to hold it or palm it further out of danger, surely.
Emmy's got to do a lot better. Whether he saw it late, I don't know, but he's normally so good at set pieces, I mean, even coming from where he needs to be. But I thought it was a simple catch for him yesterday.
Yeah, initially I thought he could hold it, but then if you can't hold it, you palm it away. But you palm it away so wide, worst case it goes out for goes out for a corner. But the fact he's palmed it right into the line of a Palace player is so unlike him. I mean, you guys know that I rate him so highly. So for him to do that, and then again for, I think I put on our group chat earlier the fact that whenever he has a stinker of a half, he always
He comes
then
up.
he comes off injured, and it's just like I don't know if he's trying to protect his reputation as to be like, look, I've made a mistake, but I'm injured, so that's why I've made the mistake. But he's milking it to kind of put on the fact he's got an injury. If it is it genuine, I don't know. Emery came out today and said on Monday, Martinez came up to him and said that his wrist was hurting, and they said they'll see how the warm up goes, and they'll go from there. But if Martina doesn't make that mistake, he probably stays on. But I feel like he's kind of using that as a way out, and it's not the first time he's done it. He's done it a couple of times this season and last season. And if I'm honest, I'm so tired of it because if he's doing it if that's for Argentina, he'd not in a million years does he go off. And it's just like I says, I love him to pieces. I think he's our best player, but I'm starting to get annoyed with him. How I view it is him trying to protect his reputation by pretending to be injured or more so than what he actually is.
Yeah, I mean, that is obviously we're speculating there, but
No.
I mean, you never know. I think he's obviously got to do better. There's no doubt about that. I think looking back, there wasn't really much said about it on commentary either. It was just like our stars followed it in well, but you either hold it or you push it far enough away. And our defenders as well. I mean, Sar's the attacking player. He's obviously going to be on the front foot, but our fucking defenders are so flat-footed. Where are our defenders on the second ball?
And what did we say in the last podcast?
Don't know.
I don't
Lots of.
know.
Sar always scores against us.
Oh no, I can't stand him. And
You got
less said
I
about.
don't think he's scored, has he, since he played us last?
no. It's like he ain't scored since he played us last, and Ketty hasn't scored since I was in primary school. Like everything, it's absolutely awful, honestly.
You were a couple of days ago. It don't matter.
Yeah, I know.
Bloody Star anyway. And did you not know? Because commentary kept trying to tell us that it was his bloody birthday as well. So
No, no, it's honestly, but
anyway, after that, we obviously go one down. We score. We get back into it. Good play by Rodgers. Puts Watkins through. Cut back. Rodgers does well to get on it. Goal. And then good old VAR strikes. Now, I can't see how they can disallow that because there's no way that they know that them lines are spot on. It's so tight, you just have to give the goal. And that's not me being Villa biased, but I just think, honestly, last night I just thought, wow, how have you given that? It's like a leg hair. I said on the group earlier, didn't I? If he shaved his knees, he was probably on the side. It's that tight.
I don't actually think the line was bang on his knee either. I think there was a bit of a tiny, tiny gap between the line and Watkins' knee.
I mean, I've seen a few things of it today. There's different, just a lot of people like, how have you given that offside? It's not just Villa fans saying it.
yeah, I'm about to say like even like you said, it's not even like a Villa bias thing because like the tightest call I've ever seen was when we're at St Mary's and behind closed doors season. I don't know if you remember Danny Ings and it was Cash, and it was something like it was honestly the tightest one I've seen, and they gave it offside, and it was from Cash's arse, and I think it was Danny Ings was slightly off. Literally, you couldn't even see because the lines itself covered it up. And I remember Cash coming out after and saying something like, "Oh, lucky I don't train my glutes, otherwise we would come away with a point." And it's just that just. But I remember coming away from that game and thinking, like that's not fair. It's really not fair. And like I said, it happens again last night, and it's not the first time it's happened to us. And it happens to so many teams across the league. And it's, in my opinion, if you have to get the lines out, you should stay on the side. And I don't know if they are going to be or not, but they need to bring the semi-automated offsides on because
They are coming.
because that'll help. That'll clear up so many things. And it's just stupid because how's Watkins gain an advantage by being, like he says, a hair on his knee offside? Like I said, if you have to put the lines up, it's onside for me.
Well, and it takes that long. The thing that got me as well, and I don't know, I think it was it their first goal. They don't even draw the lines to see if Richards is offside. And I think I've seen it on somewhere today saying that Richards was actually more offside than what Watkins was.
Yeah, I
And
saw that today.
even on, I think, the third goal when Munoz, on whatever you say his name, crosses it in, it was tight. There's no lines drawn again.
Yeah.
So why are you drawing it for one goal but not the others?
There was 3 tight calls in that game. They all went against us.
Well,
Yeah.
as a wise Mr. Anton V says, they're all bent and it's corrupt.
Yeah. I mean, Dad might have a case.
Yeah.
And you'll
I don't
never know.
think I don't think the ref had a bad game yesterday. Obviously, it was VAR making decisions.
No, I thought he was awful. He's just as bad as all the others.
No, don't get me started on the refs. I hate them more than anyone.
What
Yeah.
did he do wrong yesterday?
Don't get me started, because we spoke about Martinez. He's pissed me off, and then the referees were just going to send me out the room. I
Yeah.
hate them all.
We're not here to speak about the refs.
Yeah, fuck them.
Anyway, 1-0 down at half time. Garcia, I thought it was a bit harsh on Garcia. I didn't think he did a lot wrong. Obviously, Bailey comes on to play right wing back. Now, I didn't think Bailey done a lot wrong, but I think this is where we just
No, but
absolutely.
when you saw Bailey coming on at half time, do you think, oh my God, he's changing formation? Doing
Yeah,
I
Konza right back
I thought we
or
would have
Odegaard
got
right back?
Odegaard at right back.
Exactly.
Um,
Well, sure, he must have seen in that first half our formation wasn't working. I know we probably had more of the ball, but we weren't creating anything. I know we had the offside goal.
I thought we
We're
were
so slow to get the ball forward.
okay in the.
So slow.
I thought we were okay. I didn't think we were setting the world, but I thought he would have changed it still. Obviously, we get the goal back. Rogers, good goal. You know, Watkins with a good flick, and then Rogers does really well to score. But the minute they went 2-1 up, we just fell apart. It was a
yeah,
capitulation, really.
yeah, and that's where I put the message in the other day about, if Guinea was to be stripped or be sold or whatever, who would be an actual captain. And I actually think it's when you talk about leaders in dressing rooms, and I know you have like the stereotypes, the Adams, the JTs, etc. But how many leaders do we actually have in our team where, because at the end of the day, we're chasing Champions League, or that's what Emery wants. And we're going to play at Palace. Before the game, they won 2 games at home all season in the league. We've just gone 2-1 down. No one's grabbing anyone by the scruff of the neck. No one's doing anything. And it's so frustrating because I know we struggle there, but these are the games we have to be winning. Like last night, I think it was a must win for us. And like I think you said, Scotty, if Brentford got 2 games in hand on us, if they win both of them, they'll go ahead of us by a point, and we're in 11th.
Yeah. Do you think? Um, Obviously, everyone knew it was kind of a must-win. Do you think that's why Emery was so animated?
Probably because he always gets like that in the big games. I remember in the Conference League at Leisure Warsaw last year, there was that famous thing where he was just like that, and his hair was going everywhere, just like that, and he was screaming at Paco, as the assistant manager. And but yeah, like
He just looked. I mean, yesterday he looked. I think was it when
He,
Rob scored and it actually stood and
when
he was
Rodgers scored,
hitting the
he was
dugout.
like punching the dugout. Yeah.
Like you don't really see him do. You're not really seeing him do that. I thought they panned in on him a lot, which
uh,
right, but he just seemed he was getting his steps in as they kept joking about on freaking commentary. But he was really animated, wasn't
yeah. I mean,
He can be like that though. He can be like that, can't it? If the players aren't playing the way that he wants them to play, he does get. You noticed it was in the first half where Tillemans played that pass. Garcia weren't there, and
yeah,
he
yeah.
absolutely lost it with Garcia. Did you see him?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say about when Scotty said about Garcia getting hooked. I think because obviously when you play a three at the back, your width primarily comes from out wide because you play 2 10s or you play 1 10 and 2 strikers. So your width comes from your wing backs. We recycled it so well, and then like he says, we were in, um, and then Mitchell got there before Garcia. Garcia was nowhere near it, and like he says, Emery was going absolutely ballistic, and that might have been the reason why he hooked him to kind of prove a point to be like, look, if you're not going to do what I want in this system, then don't matter who you are, you're going to be gone.
he? Yeah. I mean, there wasn't really much said about why Cash wasn't playing, was there?
I don't know, not from what I believe, no.
He got a knock, didn't he? He got a knock in the Chelsea game.
No, I thought he might have been. I didn't think he'd be not even in the squad for last night though. But hey ho.
He came off. He was struggling when he came off against Chelsea.
Oh,
The
well, there you
weekend.
go.
Yeah. Um, and then obviously the other thing that we found odd last night was we go 3-1 down and Rashford, Asensio come on, but Watkins and Ramsey come off. What unless well actually I don't even know. I'm not even going to suggest that maybe he's trying to rest Watkins, but no centre forward. And then after that we just went nothing. Asensio, Rashford barely had a touch. We were all over the place, and you just kind of thought, yeah, they're going to score a fourth here.
When he made
Everything
the
was off.
subs, once again, I thought he was going to change formation. I thought Bogard or someone like that would come off as well as JJ, and we'd go 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2, something like that again.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, it's just odd.
yeah, I think we had. It was weird because I think Asensio was the only one actually playing in his position because you had Rodgers up front as a lone striker, which we haven't seen at Villa before, and then you had Rashford as a narrow 10, which since he's come to Villa, every highlight he's had has been from out wide, providing stretching the pitch. So odd for me. Again, just goes back to what we were saying at the start. The team selection, everything was awful. The subs, the sub timing. End of the day, we're paying 350 grand a week for Rashford and 250 odd grand a week for Asensio to, they're only here for another 4 or so months, and we want them to get us Champions League, and yet we're not using them. Rashford started one game, and Asensio, fair enough, he played 90 minutes, but to bring him on with, I think it was something like 22, 23 minutes left, when, like I said, you're 3-1 down, I mean, you're not going to, it's not giving him any real hope, in my opinion.
No, I think you've signed them for now. And listen, if they were playing 60, 70 minutes and being bought off, I'd get it. But 20 minutes away at Palace ain't good enough, is it really? Especially after the weekend, they would have both been absolutely buzzing from the Chelsea game, and just don't know. I just didn't get it. And like we said at the start, no one's saying Emery should be sacked, but he definitely has questions to be answered about certain decisions that he made.
Our league form, take away the cups, is absolutely terrible. The cups, the FA Cup and Champions League, is papering over our current league form. Who's it you put in the group earlier? It's Gerrard form in the league.
Yeah, literally, I think it's one win in 7, is it? 1 win in 7.
Yeah, you say Gerrard form on the wins, but we've had a lot more draws.
It's just the more so the point of the fact that
Because I think if you look at it, we've won something like this. We've got the sixth highest amount of wins in the league, and we've got I think we're fifth for defeats, like lowest defeats. But obviously, draw. How many games can you go through that we've drawn this season where we should have won? Bournemouth at home,
West Ham, Brighton,
um,
Ipswich.
twice against Ipswich, and that's just without obviously even thinking about it too much. So I think the draws have killed us. Even if you just turn two of them in to wins, that's an extra 4 points, and we'd be up in the bloody fourth place.
Yeah, I can get over the odd draw. Like, I mean, last year was a year to remember, but we drew at home to Sheffield United. I remember that, and even home to Brentford. I can get past them ones, but then when it happens on such a frequent basis, like you said, you just named 5 or 6 there. We're not even looking too deep into it, and it's just.
Yeah, I mean, listen, bad day. Well, it was embarrassing, really, in the end, wasn't it? I mean, so we were all on the WhatsApp group. Dad and Kev and even Dave was bloody piping up on our WhatsApp chat. Yeah, just a bad day. I mean, our next 3 league games, away to Brentford, away to Brighton, home to Forest. I mean, listen,
Need
all
to win
three
all
are
three.
winning around, but I don't think you can afford to lose any of them. And I think you've got to win at least 2 out of 3.
Yeah,
It's a big week coming up. And if FA Cup, if we lose to Cardiff, questions are going to be asked again. And then you've got the first leg of the Champions League, which you need to take time back to Villa Park. Do you know what I mean? So it's a big week coming up before you got obviously, them 3 Premier League games and the home leg against Bruges.
I think as well, a lot of people are kind of not get ahead of themselves, but people are already thinking about whether it's going to be PSG or Liverpool. Like, we got to focus on Bruges first. I
Bruges is a
said,
tough game.
yeah,
Tough
like
game.
I said a couple of podcasts ago that I actually would have preferred Dortmund, just solely on the fact that they're having such a awful season at the minute. They've just changed manager, and like I said, they went away to Bochum, lost 2-0. Their local rivals, their fans booed them off the pitch. Whereas you have Club Brugge who are set in a structure, and like I said, they have that team harmony that there's always that team every couple of years that have it. You have the Ajax team. A couple of years ago, got to the semis. You had the Monaco team that got to the semis with Falcao, Bernardo Silva, Mendy, Mbappe, and it seems, in my opinion, this Club Brugge team is another kind of version of that. They got young players, they got experienced players, they got a coach that's hungry, and again, we need to focus on it's the next game, the next thing. It's Cardiff this Friday. See how that goes, and then straight away, bang, you're onto Bruges. You're not thinking of, like he says, was it our next game is Brentford away? So you're not thinking of Brentford away. You're not thinking of the second leg against Bruges. Do you know what I mean? It's game by game.
Game by game. I mean, I think it might be a good thing in a way because our form in the FA Cup and Champions League been pretty spot on. So maybe a distraction. And Emery's a genius at a one-off game. And like I said, everyone gets stuff wrong. He's entitled to have a bad day at the office. He's had a hell of a lot more good days since he's taken over than bad days. But nothing we can do now. He's got to suck it up. We've got to suck it up, and go again.
I wanted to pose something to you boys about European form compared to league form. Obviously, Emery is everyone sees a cup manager. He's a European expert, which obviously his CV backs up. You look at our Champions League, for one, our performances, and two, like clean sheets against Juventus, Bologna, Bayern Munich, young boys. We're churning them out, and I think they said last night about Martinez has 87.5% save percentage in the Champions League, but then in the league we can't keep a clean sheet for fun, and I think his save percentage is something like 63 something. I personally, for me, I can't figure out why. Like he says, it might be the case that it's the one-off games that Emery says he's so good at one-off matches in finals, etc. I don't know if it's maybe that he just plans differently for these European nights, but there's definitely something as to why we're so more defensively sound and solid in Europe compared to how we are in the league.
We played better against better teams. I mean, this season we played our best football against better teams. We seem to step it up for the big games.
Yeah, that's a valid point. To be fair, might even just be that he might get onto the players a bit more, or he might. Again, we don't have cameras inside the dressing room. We don't know what's being said, how he's preparing for it. But that might just be the case that those games under the lights midweek just. Yeah.
I think it's a struggle to go from highs of playing at Bayern at home and then dropping down to a Premier League game. I think that's what we struggle with more, the emotional side of it and what it takes out of you emotionally and mentally more than probably physically. Even in the crowd, you can feel it. Like the Bayern Munich game, everyone was singing, everyone was up for it. And then Ipswich the other day, it was pretty flat.
It was flat though, but there's nothing they were doing to get the crowd up.
No, I know, but it works both ways. That players can't play well
I
all.
know it does, but you know how it works in a crowd. You know what I mean?
I know, and I know. Listen, Villa are as fickle as anyone, but even at the start of the game, you can, when you've got nothing to cheer about, you can still try and sing and get it going. The Bayern Munich game, after a minute, no one had nothing to cheer about, but everyone was singing and Juve, then Celtic. I think it's a collective really. But anyway, enough about the Palace game. We don't really want to talk about that dross, do we?
No.
No, and we've done half an hour on that. So, if anyone's still listening, we'll have a quick look at the Cardiff game. Obviously Friday night. I mean, must win now, surely. No bones about it. How do you think he'll play it? Do you think he'll go fairly strong, or do you think he will?
I think he's gonna have to mix it up. I think he's got to.
Apparently, Barkley was back in training.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. Yeah.
I saw that. He put a tweet out, didn't he? Some fan was asking him.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have been comparing this game to the Stevenage one. Obviously, there could be a potential banana skin with fact of facing low league opposition at Villa Park, and people were saying about going strong or mixing it up. And back then against Stevenage, we mixed it up and we lost. But now the argument is that you mix it up, we've still got such a talented squad that we should be able to beat Cardiff with 5 or 6 changes.
I
I
mean, mixed
expect
then.
Marlon to start. Obviously, he's not in the Champions League squad.
Yeah, you'd
Yeah.
imagine so.
Yeah. It's that Stevenage game. Mixing it up was bloody Den Donker and Sans, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Whereas now by mixing up, you're basically using, you're putting Rashford, Asensio, Marlon, Bailey. You're putting them all in. If Mings is fit enough, you're putting him in. Imagine Garcia will play again. Matson will play. Whether Martinez is fit, if Martinez is fit, you put him in there as well. So
Yeah.
again, you're making a lot of changes, but changes that can still, that's still a very good
Still
Premier League
picking a
side.
team that should win that game.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Disassi would be cup tied, but I'd expect Rashford to actually start. I think he needs to start. He needs no more than 40. He's not played more than 45 yet. He needs a good probably an hour, and then maybe get him off because you'd think he'd start the Bruges game. Maybe this is a game to rest Rodgers. I mean, I said it.
I think so.
I don't. If Rodgers is somewhat fit, he plays every game. And the fact that he lasted again 90 minutes after looking doubtful just proved my point.
And playing up front.
Yeah. I mean, odd. Just looking at Cardiff, then they're having not the best of seasons. They've obviously got a couple of old Villa boys in their team. Will be quite nice to see El Ghazi back. He obviously
You
put a
put,
tweet out the minute we got the draw, didn't he?
yeah,
In his time was Premier League time. Him and Trezeguet were like the dynamic duo, weren't they? Who started getting subbed on. But obviously fond memories of him scoring in the playoff final.
Our promotion season, he was up there as one of our better players, wasn't he? So.
Yeah, we'll all remember that shoulder header, won't we? At Wembley.
oh
There was no header about it, it was just shoulder.
yeah,
Kind
back.
of
He was back.
had
Tackled the shoulder.
about Cardiff.
What's that, mate?
Got a few stats about Cardiff season so far.
Yeah, just some things that we should be wary of. They have one away win in the league this season, so I feel like a very attacking lineup is what I'd personally go for with all the talent we have that weren't playing on the weekend, which hopefully that's what I'd imagine we'll be doing. Also, you were talking about a few of the old Villa boys. We had Callum Robinson who come through our academy. He's our top goal scorer this season. He's got 12 in 27. Yet to play in the FA Cup, but I'm assuming he will be because if he's our top goal scorer, he's got to play surely on Friday, as it's going to be their cup final. Then also, we've been very sound from set pieces this season, but I saw earlier that they have 25% of their goals have come from set pieces. I haven't watched them enough to see routines that they do, and actually how to defend them. But we saw at Anfield when we played Liverpool. We even from attacking set pieces, we were just not leaving anyone back. I just feel like transitions from set pieces, defensively and offensively, we've got to kind of keep an eye out for.
Yeah,
because 25% is a lot. They don't score a lot. I think the 9 set piece goals they've got this season, they don't score a lot. I think they average 1.1 or 1.2 a game. They're averaging, but still, the defensive form we're in, we have to be sceptical of transitions from set pieces.
yeah. Yeah, something to be aware of. So I'm just watching. I've got United Ipswich game in the background, and that new signing's just put a horrible tackle on that Hutchinson. I think he's just been sent to the monitor. If any of you two are watching that game,
What, their left back?
Yeah, he
I'm
just
trying to concentrate on the podcast, not watch football in the background, mate.
if it isn't a red card, shocker.
Do you
But
know what I mean?
Yeah, they won't give it. They won't give a red card. It's United.
they've only one away win all season. That was against Watford, like you said. They beat Sheffield United away in the third round, and then beat Stoke away in the fourth round on penalties. They've only won 8 games in the league though all season. Cardiff. I mean, on paper, surely it should be a fairly comfortable.
Our only struggle is they're going to come and sit 10 men behind the ball, aren't they? And we struggle to break teams down when people stick 10 men behind the ball. I think that's
Uh,
our only worry.
yeah, but it is a cup game, and at some point they're going to have to come out. I don't think they'll just settle for penalties.
But I think that's why you'd have to have players like Marlon and Rashford on the pitch, because I think the only way we'll get a lot of joy from counter attacks and transitions. If they're going forward, they're going to have to gamble. They're not going to go forward with 2 or 3 players. They're going to go forward. Their wing back's going to bomb on. We have to then catch them when they have 4 or 5 men back instead of, like you said, 10, because we struggle to break things down as we saw against Ipswich. We don't want to get in that similar situation. An early goal would be absolutely perfect because, again, if it's 0-0 and it's the 75th minute, yeah, it could be trouble.
Yeah, I mean, sure, to get minutes in the legs, and that's the only way Rashford and Asensio are going to get fit. Surely they both start and they both get an hour.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And it's key as well because, I mean, Emery, all his priorities said every time when he gets an opportunity is that the Prem is his number one thing. If it's his choice, he said that he does, like, obviously he cares about the other competitions, but he said Champions League, to get into that through the Premier League, he said, we need the Premier League, that's the priority. But in order to do that, Rashford's one of our better players. So with Asensio, we need to get minutes into their legs, as is Marlon. Play these boys, let them play.
Yeah, I think it's a must-win now. Otherwise, like you said, I think certain questions might be getting asked again. You get through this and you're in the quarters. It's only another 2 games and you're at Wembley. So,
A lot of the big hitters have gone out as well, haven't
no, I think it's open this year. I think the trouble is if we get an away if we do go through, and no guarantee we will, if we get an away tie, we might forfeit anyway.
they? Oh yeah, like if this was the other way around, if we were playing against Cardiff away from home, I mean, it's curtains for me. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we'll all be having meltdowns. I
It's our year, boys. This is our year, trust me. FA
hate
Cup's are ours.
Chris Deck, you freaking beat,
Yeah.
beat. No.
You're saying this all year, as fans been saying that since '58.
Yes, and that's why I want to win the FA Cup so much for the old man.
I know.
It's the only competition he hasn't seen Villa win, so
I mean, there's generations and generations of Villa that. I mean, we've not seen us win anything really. I remember the
2
'96
League Cups
Cup.
I've seen, 94 and 96, and I was 6 years old at 96.
But
I said, right, in the Toto Cup in 2001.
yeah, well, let's not turn into Tottenham. You know, but yeah, I mean, I think Dad might keel over if we win the FA Cup.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like a lot of people from like it says past generations, from like the older set of fans, they're obsessed with the FA Cup. It's like how we are with the Champions League. That's our Champions League. That's their FA Cup. And always, I was talking to my old man and aunt before the game against Chelsea on Saturday night, and I was like, wasn't it like a whole day thing? And he was like, yeah. He said there'd be channels on from as early as 6 o'clock in the morning doing game shows about other teams. If it was Villa versus Everton, they get Everton fans on, Villa fans on, play these games, and it just goes on and on throughout the whole entire day. Nothing else was going on that day. It was just about the FA Cup final, and that was it.
I Final. I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's absolutely huge. That's why when I got married, we had "Abide with Me" as one of the hymns because the FA Cup final.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it. I think it's lost a bit of it. But oh my God, we'd be an absolute. If we won the FA Cup, yeah, I mean, just anything.
Yeah. I mean,
Charity,
obviously,
charity shield by this point.
It's the only way we're getting into Europe at the moment, anyway.
but then that's like, I mean, we haven't said on to the people that watch this and like, but we've said to ourselves that if you lost every single game for the rest of the season, Prem and Champions League, but you won the FA Cup, and obviously you didn't get relegated, would you take it? And I said, yeah. I said because
100%.
if we say we get through to the next round, we get drawn away at Newcastle, lose that, and then we go out to Club Brugge or Liverpool, PSG, whoever it may be, then we end up finishing ninth. No one's ever going to look back at that season and be like, oh, yeah, this is the season we finished ninth. Whereas if we lose every other game and we finish 13th, we get knocked out of Champions League, but we won the FA Cup, in 40 years' time, people are going to be saying, oh, yeah, like, in 2020, 24-25 season, Villa won the FA Cup. And do you know what I mean? Like when we won the European Cup in '82, no one ever spoke about our league position then. Like, we finished 13th that season in the league, I'm pretty sure. But no one ever speaks about that. All they remember is the European Cup win. It's the year after the Super Cup. No one ever talks about that year, apart from the fact we won the Super Cup. It's going to be the same thing if we ever win the FA Cup. It's such a big game on
Okay,
Friday.
where we finished if we won a trophy.
Exactly that. Exactly that. It takes it gets the trophy drought over, and it gets us into Europe. If we're in Europe, does Rashford stay? Does Asensio stay? It's so many things come into it. You get put into You get put into the charity shield as well. And
Yeah, I mean, a lot of questions. I just think go in, no messing about, go and get the job done, be on the front foot, and just then, just start crossing your fingers. But we
yeah,
certainly need a reaction. I can't imagine that there won't.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, fingers crossed, boys.
yeah.
Anything else to touch on, or are we done?
I believe obviously
We are done.
he hasn't had his press conference yet, so obviously we can't speak about, because for all we know he might come out and suddenly say Onana, Barkley, and Powell are all fit, but I mean we don't know who's fit apart from, obviously you said earlier, Ross is back in
They're not
training,
starting,
so.
are they? They haven't played for how long? He's not going to throw him
Oh
in this
no,
week.
but it's even just being on the bench. Like, I'd imagine Barkley will be on the bench on Friday night, and yeah, whoever else.
I'm not. I'm not sure. I think he'll mix it up top. Like I said, I think Marlon will come in. I think Asensio and Rashford will both start.
They
Um,
have to. Yeah.
maybe
It's just,
Bogard as as the holders.
I
But
think
it's Tassie's cup tie, so it might be Conser and Bogard at centre halves if he doesn't want to risk Mings.
I think if possible, resting Tielemans, because Tielemans has started every single game for us this season in the Champions League and in the league. So if we could rest him, but obviously again the game takes priority. If it is the case that Bogard has to play and Barkley isn't quite fit enough, then he'll have to. It's about respecting Cardiff, but not to the point where we're respecting Chelsea in that first half. It's respecting Cardiff with the fact that you're near the bottom of the Championship. We're heavy favourites, but we're still going to play Rashford. We're still going to play Asensio. We're still going to play Martinez. We're still going to play Marlon. All these players. We're not going to put in Ben Broggio. We're not going to put in these players that you think, Jim Arloba. Like, we're not going to put these players in. We're going to respect the competition for what it is.
Yeah, I totally agree. You can't be taking anything for granted. Like I said, go and get the job done. No fucking dicking about. Just pick a team, win the game, get the game won, and then you can rest players. I think
What are we going for?
I think there'll be a reaction, but we don't keep clean sheets, so 3-1.
Jay?
I was going to go 3-1, so that's kind of fucked me up a bit. I'll go. Well, I have to go 4-1 then, won't I?
3-0. Villa. Rashford, first goal scorer.
No, we're doing first goal scorer. I'm going to say Marlon.
Who did I say? I said the Sassy first goal scorer in the last one, didn't I, against
I
Palace?
confirm that none of us got anything right. So stands. I've got 10 points, and you two have got
You haven't
9.
got 10 points because we started this.
Yeah,
After you said you were starting, so everyone's on 0.
Listen, I'm the host. I've got 10. 0-0.
That's it.
half
Any-
when you're winning.
Right, we'll be back.
Jamie didn't do his first goal scorer.
Yeah,
I'll go for Asensio.
all right. Fingers crossed. I'll take a 3-0 when all three of them score.
Can we do first goal scorer for Cardiff? they're probably gonna score their
Scoring
first
their
shot.
first shot.
They're gonna score their first shot.
If we're winning 3-0 and they got a score, I'll let Amar get it.
He won't celebrate either.
No, I know. I just they might sing a song for him,
No, they will.
But anyway, yeah, we'll be back after the Cardiff game, before the Bruges game. So yeah, anyone new that's watching, like, subscribe, as we try and build the podcast out as much as we can. And yeah, thanks for watching, much appreciated. And up the Villa, boys.
Not the
Cheers,
Villa.
boys. Up the Villa.